everyone, Steph here from thegoodride.com. We're here talking about the All-Road 900 from Dreamscape in a 154. If you'd like to check out the full write-up and review, you can head over to thegoodride.com. This is a unisex board, comes in 3 sizes, a 154, a 160, and a 166. Yeah, it does come in 3 sizes. It doesn't come in a very wide variety of different sizes. It has 50 milli setback, and it also has 9 millimeters of taper. This comes with an 8 out of 10 flex, and I feel like it's an 8 out of 10 on your average men's scale flex. So it is pretty stiff. Give you a flex here. So it is a very stiff board, very aggressive board, directional board, and then it has a positive camber under the feet to rocker on the nose and the tail profile. So you can see here it's got a pretty short but pretty aggressive arc on the camber. And then the base, it is a sintered base. It says that it has like high performance glide. I took this out here in some pretty average mid-season snow conditions. And I also had 2 other women ride this board. They both normally ride a 151, 152. So this is more kind of their size board. This is definitely a large size for me, especially with how light I am. But yeah, took it out in some kind of average snow conditions, and then those other 2 women rode it in spring conditions. So on snow feel, it was kind of interesting because it is a very stiff flex. I feel like when I wasn't moving, I could twist the board. So it was a little bit softer torsionally than it is along the length. Along the length, it's very stiff, but when I was riding it, I didn't feel like there was too much twist happening in the turns. And so it's a little bit more of that locked in, full on, like edge carve feel when you're riding. For me, and this is for me, so it's going to feel different for other people, but the All-Road 900, I feel like this is a pretty aggressive, pretty hard charging board. It's kind of that all-mountain / free ride board because of the taper and the directional ride. I feel like if it is for expert riders, high advanced expert riders, if you are an intermediate, this board is pretty aggressive and it takes a lot, or if you are just a heavier rider. For me and like the other women that were on the board, we felt like it was a pretty aggressive, hard charging, straight lining type board. So on the steeps, it can ride the steeps. It has a really nice edge hold on the steeps, you know, the stiffer flex with the camber profile. It makes it nice connection with the snow on scraped off snow and icy snow and kind of steeper terrain. And so it felt good on the steeps, but it is more of that large radius turner or kind of bomber type board up there. It just kind of wants to go fast. It wants to cruise down at a higher speed. If yeah, it doesn't like just kind of like piddling around or turning. It wants to go down the hill. Pretty stable though. If you do turn it and just kind of like let it rip down the hill, it's very stable. It will absorb the bumps for the most part. From time to time, it felt a little bumpy, like when I got into bumpy terrain, chunder, kind of chopped up snow. I didn't like it as much. I kind of preferred it more on the groomer at higher speeds, and then I just kind of had to maintain it a little more in the choppy type snow. So bringing it off piste. For me, this wasn't a fit off piste just because I couldn't turn it very quickly, and it felt more locked in than it felt free flowing. So if you're riding off piste in an aggressive way, I don't think it'd be good for like super tight trees or tight spots where you have to maneuver a lot, but if it's more like wide open off-piste, big mountain type off-piste, I think this board would fit there. But again, for that aggressive, kind of more hard charging type rider. In powder, you know, it is tapered and it is directional and you get a little bit of setback options. It will handle okay. I didn't get it in powder. I feel like it would be kind of in that free ride realm of powder boards. It's not going to be a super high floating, you know, reverse camber, giant nose type board, but in a free ride sense, it should be able to handle okay in some average powder conditions. To me, it felt really locked in, and so those aren't typically the type of boards that I enjoy in powder, but if you want like the old school feel in powder and you like that sort of ride, it should do just fine as long as it's not super deep out. So bringing it down to groomers, again, this board likes to go really fast and I felt like it preferred to be at higher speeds, especially for me. Otherwise, I couldn't really get it to do what I wanted it to do. I needed to ride quickly to get that energy moving so that I could actually maneuver the board. It likes fast, it likes more carved turns over skidded turns, and so it prefers that higher speed, higher edge angle type turn, more large radius where you're just kind of like cruising down the mountain in like an open turn going down the mountain and not really closing them off too much. It felt pretty good in carves. It has a lot of stability at higher speed carves. When you put it on edge, it's gonna ride through the turn and it won't get really bumpy or chattery or anything like that. So fun carver, definitely technical enough to do some carving, but not a carve specialist, I would say. I think it's more of a bomber specialist as opposed to a carving specialist. It doesn't really like skidded turns. It kind of just wants to go, like I said. The torsional twist is not very friendly, and so twisting it to make the skidded turns is a little more difficult. It just prefers to just go kind of edge to edge. So switch, you can ride it switch, but it does feel backwards. I feel like the setback, along with kind of the stiffer flex and the taper on the tail, it feels a little backwards, but you can do it. It's not super loose, so switching around isn't extremely easy. Not the type of board that I'm gonna like change my mind on. If we're going for something, we're going for it. There's no changing your mind. So as far as the Freestyle Personality goes, if you can bend this board, you're gonna get a ton of energy back because it is a stiffer flexing board. I couldn't really bend it, and so popping ollies or jumping off things was a little bit difficult for me. But if I found a piece of terrain that kind of created the bend in the board for me, like a little natural wind lip, then it was fun. And it's really, really stable, so landing is gonna be real stable as well. So the overall personality of the Allroad 900 is a hard charging, fast, kind of all mountain free ride board. It's not for the timid or, you know, you're just getting used to things. It's like you've been riding a while and you want to turn it up and you want to ride quickly and you want to ride aggressive. Yeah, so definitely I would say that this is in the expert realm. I don't even think like maybe advanced would work, but I think it's definitely an expert type board, especially if you're a smaller rider. It's a lot of board to maneuver around the mountain. So if you are looking for an aggressive all mountain freeride board, that is the Allroad 900 from Dreamscape. For the full review and write up, head over to thegoodride.com to check it out.